Good morning, T-Wolves! Mr. Quentin here with what we did for Monday, March 29th, 2021. That's right, folks. We are ready to rock in the last quarter of 2021 of our whole school year. So, how exciting is that? We've made it to the end, folks. Not the very end, but the beginning of the end, I guess it would be. So, here's what we got, my friends. We are going to be talking about economics. That's right, folks. Remember those wonderful economic institutions that we referenced way back in the second quarter when we were learning about culture? Well, now we're going to learn a little bit more about how those things work and do a deeper dive into what economics are overall. Now, don't panic, don't freak out. This is not exactly asking you to learn about interest rates and competitive production cycles and all that kind of stuff. Or is it? No, not really. But it will be at least kind of glossing some of these things over, trying to expose you to some of these things. So before you even sit there and go, oh, this is so boring and this is so terrible, well, let's just find out what it is first. What do you say? So here we go. We're going to, as always, pretend that we're first period. You, of course, are going to go to your particular period. We will head down into our new green folder, quarter four. Head on over to week of March 29th, and you'll see that Monday is there. So, folks, we really only have one daily work assignment. Now, as we know, daily work is not for points, but it is for learning. You'll still need to understand this stuff and reference this stuff when it comes to study guides for quizzes and or tests. So this is not something that you'll want to blow off. So please, please, please make sure you get this done. All right, we're just going to be going over this very, very simple assignment here. And it is just a document here that I am asking you to read and answer the questions as you go along. And let's take a look at what that might look like for you. So, it's broken down into three parts. All right. It explains basic economics and helps you to understand what goods and services are, and then what the three different parts of the cycle are in terms of giving us our goods and services. So we have production, which is where you're making the goods and services. You have consumption, which is how we're using those goods and services, and also the resources that go into giving us our goods and services. And then, of course, we have distribution, which basically is a very fancy word for movement and how those goods and services and those resources are getting to where they need to go. You are just going to give me 1 to 2 sentences. It doesn't have to be very special here. You're just kind of recapping what those three things are. So again, not really looking for anything super special in this particular answer other than you to tell me what those are. What's that going to look like? Look at that. Very, very basic. You can see here that I did it in just one sentence where I just simply recapped what those three things are. Moving into part 2, talks about the reason why we have economics in the first place. What is the point? Why do we need to have businesses and jobs and money and things? And it goes over that and helps you understand what goods and services are produced, how they're going to be produced, who's going to consume them. All of these things are what you're going to need to decide when you want to get something. So, like example for a video game, the maker has to, the studio who is producing it has to say, well, what exactly are we going to make? Well, clearly you're going to make a video game, and you have to decide how are you going to produce this video game? What kind of people do you need to hire? What kind of designers are you going to need? What kind of story are you going to tell? And what resources are you going to need to help you to make that game? And then when you have who are going to consume the goods and services, who's going to use that game, who's going to play it, why do you want them to play it? So you're getting all of those things together so that you can produce a video game that people will want to play. And if they want to play it, then they'll buy it. And then that gives you money with which you can use to make more games. So again, What goods and services do you think should be produced in your area and why? So I want at least 2 complete and complex sentences here. And if you want to see what that looks like this right here. So you can see here that I have 1, 2, 3 sentences, okay? So even I didn't do a whole bunch of extra work here, but I'm answering the question in terms of something that we have around here. We already have oil and gas. We should absolutely continue that and expand it. We have the second largest port in the United States. So maybe we should work on how we can distribute these things that we get at the port in better ways to help find more people to consume the goods so that, we're in a better shape. Finally, we have part 3, which talks about the different values that go into how people react to economics. And so looking at making things efficient, how free we are to do it, the security we have in it, equity, which means that people, everyone who's taking part in the economic system is getting treated fairly. And then, of course, growth and innovation. And after you read these, you're just determining which economic goal you think is the most important and why, which is, again, at least 2 complete and complex sentences. For myself, I said that economic freedom is the most important goal because if you don't have it, in my opinion, then you don't get any of the other ones. There's no way to decide what efficiency looks like or what equity might be or how to innovate things if you don't even have the freedom to make those choices. Perhaps you have a different opinion, or perhaps maybe you agree, but for different reasons. So as always, don't copy me, but you can certainly use this as a jumping off point to help you answer the questions yourself. And folks, that's what we did today. So hopefully you will be able to do that. We did, of course, have some discussion and stuff about it, but this is what we had going on in class. So make sure you get this submitted by 11:59, please. If you do have any questions, please send me that note in Schoology, send me that email. Other than that, I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Mr. Quinton, out.